What's your lemonade stand story?
And he was like, YouTube's going to be the next big thing, Devin. Like, you need to get on that. You need to get on it early. And I'm like,
And all of us, we all go through our own trials, our own level of stuff.
Sure hope this works out. Otherwise, this will be a huge waste of time.
I mean, what else is it all about other than just taking risks and continuing to try and grow and hopefully get better and better at making things?
Most of the billion-dollar brands you've seen were started by people that were just solving a problem for themselves.
We're telling lemonade stand stories from some of the world's top creators, makers, and go-getters.
We're rolling right now.
Hey,
We're having fun. We're rolling.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this podcast today is sponsored by Yalla, a task management and team collaboration software that we use at Lemonade Stand. We use Yalla to keep all of our team members organized, wherever they are. In fact, we used it to plan and organize this podcast. Visit yalla.team, that's YALLA.team, and try it for free. We also have a special offer for all listeners of this podcast. Use promo code LEMONADE and get a lifetime 25% off if you upgrade. What's going on, guys? This is Charan Prabhakar with the Lemonade Stand Stories podcast, and I'm here with a dear buddy of mine who we've discussed has been the reason for my employment as an actor. Travis Chambers is sitting across from me, and he is currently in Idaho, I believe, right now, and so we weren't able to actually meet in person. But Travis Chambers is the creator, the founder of Chamber Media, and they have produced tons and tons of ads for tons and tons of different companies. They've been able to help companies explode and go big, go off the maps, and it's been so fun. When I came back to Utah as an actor, I remember meeting Travis. Dude, this was actually 2016 because we did the Game Time app ad, right?
Oh yeah, man, that's crazy.
It's crazy. That was when we first met. I feel, and we've kind of kept in tabs with each other, but like seriously, the last couple of years. I feel like Chamber Media hires me all the time for like different gigs. And it's funny because when I'm like, yeah, I'm buddies with Travis. They're like, wait, what? You're buddies with Travis? It's like, you're a legend among your company. It's amazing. So, and the thing is like, the first thing I actually even saw of you was like this rad, hilarious YouTube video where you were asking your wife a question about how far you go if you go 80 miles an hour or something like that. Dude, like, tell me, let's just start from the beginning. This is a Lemonade Stand Stories podcast. So I'd love to hear your lemonade stand story. Like if you always got into business as a kid or how you got into marketing and all that fun stuff. So.
Man, I have this early childhood memory where I made this paper airplane and I put like my name on it. And I was like, I could probably make a store selling these. And I got all like ambitious out of nowhere. And I started looking for scraps to make a store. And then I think my brother was like, dude, no one's going to buy that idiot.
Yeah.
And so then that was like the first spark, Yeah. And then, I saw Pokemon cards was the big thing. So
yeah, I
got all into that I never really learned how to play. I just like wanted to sell Pokemon cards, and dude, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I'd say, don't sell Pokemon cards, play with the kids, play Pokemon, man. You don't need to profit off of this, just enjoy it. So
for sure.
that was the thing. And I remember I was 11 and I saw a commercial come on for a movie and I thought, I want to make commercials for movies for some reason. And I think at 11 I had already given up on like any like actual film dreams probably. I had such a pragmatic set of parents telling me things, so I thought advertising, that's like the next best thing, but I could probably still have a family and pay the bills if I do advertising. And so that was kind of the first the real first lemonade stand that made money was putting on MMA fights. So by the time I got into college, I thought I'm just gonna climb the corporate ladder like my dad did. If I can make $100,000 by 30 with a good job and just be a good, stable father, then that's good. That's my goal in life. And I got nipped by the entrepreneur bug. I just saw this movie, Warrior, and it was one of
I love that
it
movie.
was this MMA movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and I got so passionate about it that I went and signed up for jiu-jitsu class.
No.
And then 6 months later, I thought I should start my own fight. And so I did. I started my own fight, and we had the Utah Boxing Commission and EMTs and ambulances and health insurance and the whole 9 yards. And our venue changed 2 weeks beforehand. And I was hacking Facebook. I was flyering cars in the parking lot of football stadium, getting chased by cops and putting lawn signs everywhere.
Yeah.
And passing out flyers. And our first fight, 1,500 people showed up.
No way.
In Logan, Utah, which is 100,000 people in it.
Yeah.
But our venue canceled 2 weeks before, so we had to move to this weird wedding venue place that only fit 600 people. So I lost money on the first fight, and that was excruciating. That was my first sting of entrepreneurship, of having this big dream and doing all this work and having it just lose money.
Yeah.
But then the next one, we got a ice hockey arena, and like 2,000 people showed up. And then, and I was doing house parties at our fraternity house, and that was fun. That made some money too, selling tickets into that. So that was good. That was the lemonade stand. That was the first. Yeah. That was one of the first lemonade stands.
Dude, it's amazing because I feel like even as you're getting into the entrepreneur bug, like you just loved like selling things and like promoting things and making things kind of go big. Like that was like a desire of yours. Like it wasn't, I don't know, like everyone's got like their different style of lemonade stand. And I love like that was like what was inspiring you and making you come alive and bring that advertising bug. When YouTube came out, like how did you find the vision of that and find the vision of like doing things on YouTube to like, growing businesses and stuff like that?
I became this huge fan of Devin Supertramp because I was on an LDS mission and his brother was my companion.
Oh, okay.
And then another one of my companions was in the Nitro Circus family, the Godfrey clan.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they were also doing a lot of cool stuff on YouTube. So I come back and I'm kind of, this guy tells me in the Czech Republic about his brother is making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So I came back and I just fell in love with it. And then a lot of people started getting big. I remember .dw started having some huge success, and watching Christian Busaith, and then Lindsey Sterling blew up. And then I just got immersed in that scene. Even though I wasn't going to BYU, I was going to Utah State, I still kind of immersed myself into that scene. And then my wife and I was a PR major, so I was just fascinated by this whole thing. And I realized journalism was dead and that this new thing was the future. And what my wife and I did this, she's always done this dumb blonde thing, and she does it all the time, like as like goofing around and stuff. She's always done it with her brothers. She's got a bunch of older brothers, and it just always gets a laugh out of people, and she just does it. And so we did that, and she put it on YouTube to show her brother because he didn't have a smartphone, and it just went super viral. We were in Good Morning America and Tosh.0, and people thought it was real, and they got really upset a lot of people got upset about it. And
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. And so I ended up just trying to take responsibility for it. And on Good Morning America did this like national apology for it. Gosh. And then that just made it even bigger. Because it was like, oh my gosh, this was real. This guy really just made his life look dumb to the rest of the world on YouTube. And then we were on Tosh.0, and then Kraft Mac and Cheese reached out, and it was from Crispin Porter Bogusky, which was my dream agency. And I said, hey, I'll license it for free, but can I get a job interview? And then I got hired, and I was like the in-house viral video resident. And then a year later, Turkish Airlines walks in and says, we want to make the most viral ad of all time. And they're like, well, we got this guy, this viral video guy. We don't really know why he's here, but go for it. And then that project was like the most viral ad of all time. And so anyways, that all came from, it all started with this like Utah YouTuber group. Devin Supertramp actually had a meetup where he had a bunch of people meet up. There was like 150 people.
Wait a minute.
In that room was the Harmon.
Wait, what year was this? I think I was there.
2011. Were you there? You probably were there.
You know what?
2011?
Maybe I didn't go to that first one. I went to another one. I did go to one of them,
Or maybe it was 2012, maybe. But
it was at a house somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, Ricky Ray Butler was
Yes.
there.
Mhm.
Harm Brothers were there.
Was Scott Jarvie
What's
there?
his name? Scott Jarvie was there.
Yeah, I was there.
So was who's the guy that does all the positive pranks?
Oh, Stuart Edge.
Stuart Edge was there. I think Lindsay, maybe no, she was already too big at that point, maybe. But yeah, there was tons of people there that.
Yep.
I think Grant Thompson was there. He's passed away now, but he was there, and all these people like built their careers off of that kind of group. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I think I was there. It was interesting because everyone kind of like took their own version of that path too. That's what I love about it. It was like this awesome think tank. And he Devin inspired like a lot of people to like do like all kinds of like really cool, fun, interesting things. The Harmon Brothers created like Angel Studios now, right? And I don't know, it was really great because I remember when I first met you, this must have been 2016 because I think that's when we did Game Time with Todd, and you were just getting Chamber Media started, and
I think we only had 2 people at that time. 2 or 3.
Yeah. And it was just like you were kind of cranking out and like creating some fun stuff. And then now it's just like this massive like empire. Like you guys are just kind of crushing it and like helping a lot of videos go viral and like building all these different ads for all these different companies and yada yada yada. So how did that whole process come about? Like, when did you decide, hey, I love all these experiences that I've had, I want to create my own thing, and now I want to see where that goes?
I've never really been great at like one thing other than just being super excited about things and being the cheerleader that kind of like gets the party together, and I really enjoy just like putting all the pieces together for the MMA fight and seeing everyone enjoy it. And then putting together house parties, and I just always enjoyed those kind of things. I really enjoyed, even in high school, I would just love getting people together, and that's just the thing I enjoy. And so it's hard to make that into a business. And so I just really enjoyed this whole video space. And so I thought, hey, if I can just put all these ingredients together and then I can go sell the product, then it can be a super fun time. Everybody can have fun time. And so that's kind of what we did. And, it's hard to do. It's hard to find people that will pay for that.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, we did great. I mean, we did, I think it was the second year we were doing over $1 million. Wow. And that was great when, obviously the profit margin on that's way smaller than that number, but just building that reputation over time, kind of painstakingly, and not taking any shortcuts, and just continually tweaking and getting better. And it finally everything just started to kind of add up. In this last year, it just went kaboom.
Well, it's so interesting because I've worked on commercials that are produced by similar agencies like Creatively and Harmon Brothers and stuff like that, right? And it's interesting because like your guys' approach is, I feel like, very different, and like you're cranking out tons and tons of videos every single week. Like you have all these multiple pods creating all these different videos, and it's amazing because like these videos are like really fun. They're quick. How did you figure out your own model within that space? Because I feel like it is different than like the other agencies out there.
Well, a couple of years ago, we noticed that the algorithms were changing a lot, and that these bigger brand campaigns were having a higher fail rate. And it was really painful to spend a lot of money and have something not scale.
Yeah.
And I couldn't accept that. I couldn't accept the fail rate. And at some point, you can only shoot so many variations, and you only test creative so many different ways. And so we just decided, well, we've got this really great team. We've got this great leadership. We're in Utah. We can shoot stuff cheaper than anyone else. So like, let's focus on volume and speed instead. Because maybe better than like one giant video is two half-sized video. And maybe better than one half-sized video is 7 small videos. And Facebook ads started getting shorter and shorter. And granted, the bigger, longer videos still work. But they don't always work, and it's really hard to spend a ton of money on something that doesn't work. And so we thought, well, why don't we just cover the whole spectrum of this thing? And at the same time, I was getting really exhausted from pitching all these brands all the time and taking all these calls, going to conferences and speaking, trying to get press features, trying to like hit the pavement or to like write viral LinkedIn posts. It was just exhausting. And so I was like, well, what if we can sell something that is actually what people really need, which is a lot of content all year round, you know, and it's just all sorts of different messages, just completely different concepts. And so we just built this model. We built this model almost of like creative scale. And we evolved almost more to like a BuzzFeed or a Pop Sugar, where we can just crank out different stuff and then find out what works. And then, you know, and then we can double down on that. And it was cool too, because it allowed us to scale, because now we had something that any brand, any company doing over like $500,000 a year could afford, you know? And so I just hated getting off on these calls and over them just being like, well, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. And I was like, we gotta be able to give something to these people, you know? So that's kind of how it evolved.
So did it kind of become like more like a subscription model? The clients are paying you, and then like you guys kind of keep cranking videos and stuff like that?
Kind of. I mean, kind of. Yeah. And there's a lot to it. It's like this iterative model too, where we built this database of every ad we'd ever made and how it performed. And we started looking at, well, what kind of types of ads perform, because we were doing these big spokesperson videos, but we see these other brands that aren't doing that at all, and they're doing millions a month. We kind of looked in the mirror, took an honest look in the mirror, and thought, are we just doing this because we can charge a lot of money for it? Especially when the fail rate is kind of high on this stuff, no matter how many variations or things we test. And so that's when we started pivoting, and we started trying to figure out how we could make a lot of concepts with a lot of speed and a lot of volume. And we took every ad that we'd ever ran, of all of its different lengths and types, and we put it into a database. And we hired machine learning engineers to analyze and mine all that data. And we were able to find patterns and the 7 foundational ads, the 7 categories of ads that get the most performance. And I can't know if I can remember them, but it was testimonials, social proof, case studies, spokesperson, product demo, lifestyle, closer ads, and shoot, there was one other one. But anyways, we found these categories, and we started kind of taking that approach to getting the whole funnel of content and trying to feed Facebook the kind of content that it wanted. And that's been, you know, a big part of the reason for our success. We're now bigger than, you know, we used to be the Harmon's little brother, and now we're kind of, you know, we're obviously doing different stuff now, but but it's really helped us to grow and to get to like a great place.
Well, dude, it's so interesting because like I was mentioning earlier, like a lot of my acting are on your ads, you know, and so when I get a chance to work with whichever director is directing me, it's kind of like that same idea, right? Like the product demo, the testimonials, the like all the different categories that you have, like the lifestyle. And it's so interesting because like to me it's like, wow, this is a well thought out campaign that's come from like years and years of research of what works and what doesn't. It's funny too because I literally had a conversation with my buddy today who's trying to do some ads, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, look, I don't know if I want to spend like a ton of money and not know if I'm going to get an ROI. Like I want to do like some testing first. And I'm like, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. So yeah, I think I love the fact that you guys are kind of like figured it out and like are continuing to go forward on it. So yeah. So I kind of want to like speaking of pivot, I want to kind of like pivot a little bit with like our conversation right now. So every business and every entrepreneur, every person are faced with moments that are like, oh my gosh, I was dealt severe lemons just barely, you know, like this was a huge blow. And I need to figure out a way to change this into lemonade or I'm going to die, you know? Was there ever a moment in your career or like in your personal life or something where you're like, oh my gosh, that was a big lemon? And how can I pivot from that?
Dude, it was just lemon after lemon after lemon. It was like clients not paying us. We had one client that canceled the project the day before the shoot because their investors didn't know about it. That was Roan. And Roan actually almost took us out. We almost like went under and then they demanded a complete refund, and we'd already spent like 40 grand on pre-production. Nordic Track paid a couple months late on the big treadmill dance video we did. We did one campaign for this crowdfunding campaign for a phone called Sagus. The founder's actually going to jail now, but we raised 1.3 million, and then they never paid us or delivered phones. So I just like, man, it just felt like there was a few times there where, you know, we were doing great work and we were just kind of getting manhandled, and it was not fun. Those were some really sad moments that were hard. And we just kind of had to just bear down and just be tough and just kind of keep grinding, you know. And that happened a lot. And obviously we changed our payment terms and we did some things to help with that. But there has been so many of those like lemon and setback type things. I get to the point actually where we had a couple of years ago, we had overgrown a little bit. We were a little bit too many people for the business we were bringing in. And I couldn't bring in business fast enough just by myself. And that's when I had this moment where I just said, I'm just giving up. Like, I just got to figure out how to automate this thing. I'm exhausted. I'm worn out. Let's figure out how to sell something cheaper that we can sell to more people so that we can start running ads, and so that I don't have to keep chasing all this business down. And of course it worked, you know, and it was extremely difficult. I mean, it took 8 months to get that offering dialed. And I think the first 4 or 5 clients did not have a great experience with that program. And it was really hard, but like, that was it, man. It was like part of it was just giving up was really important, you know?
It's interesting to me, dude, like how you guys are able to like keep crunching and going, because like I'm hearing all the time algorithms are changing, rules of the game are changing, and it seems like the rules of the games are changing all the time, but yet business still need marketing to get their sales out. Like they need your component, they need what you are offering, right? But when things are changing, like a buddy of mine was just telling me today that like people can I don't know how he described it, but he said something about tracking, and you can make it so you don't have to see the ads at all. So then he's like many of the people that like he thought were viewing the ads aren't able to view the ads anymore, or are choosing not to see the ads. So now like so much of their business is not even coming through, right? So I'm amazed like that in this type of landscape where there's just so many ups and downs, like you were able to maintain your sanity, and keep moving forward. Like, so what was that trick? Like, what was the trick?
I feel like you can relate too, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's probably a similar trajectory as an acting career. It's right.
Yeah.
You get Silicon Valley. You're like,
yeah,
right. You get these huge roles, right? But then there's just like these ups and downs.
Dude,
am I just gonna get?
Yeah.
When am I gonna get a TV show main part that is 9 series long?
Yes.
And I could just show up 9 to 5,
Yeah.
show up 9 to 5 to Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When is
Travis,
that?
I think
that's how I felt, man.
I think you need to create the series and I'll act in it. That's what I think, and you guys can market it.
Okay, deal. All right.
No, dude,
okay.
It's the truth though. It is the truth. Like what you're saying is like, it's tricky, right? Because Silicon Valley, I literally thought I kind of made it, because the writers were like, after the second season, we're like, dude, we love your character. We love like what you did with it. We're going to do. And he's like, trust me, like there's going to be a lot more of you. Like, that's what the writer told me. I never heard back. So it was a pretty brutal thing to like face that harsh truth. So, but yeah,
it's funny, man. Cause I wanted to be a musician, and I just had a lot of, people in my ear saying, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right.
Yeah.
And, because I think entrepreneurship is probably an equal amount of risk. And I think it's probably an equal amount of risk to being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look back at, how many setbacks and how many challenges there were. And I just get exhausted thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even now it's still exhausting. It's still exhausting because it's just like, you're only as good as yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think it's just, it's the burden of anyone that's going to do something that is truly like standing on their own.
Yeah.
Is going to deal with that burden.
Yeah.
But then if you don't, you also will live with regret. What's worse? Yeah. Deal with the uncertainty and the risk and the unknown, and people thinking you're kind of crazy, or like you believe in yourself too much or something. But what's better? What's worse, that or just being full of regret?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up, because I remember in 2004, I was having a really tough couple of weeks or something. And I remember looking back at my life and thinking, okay, if I regret anything, what would it be? And I knew instantly, if I get old and I never gave acting a shot, I would regret it. And then I thought, well, why haven't I given it a shot? Why haven't I gone for it? And the very next thought was like, oh, I was afraid I was going to fail. And I'm like, holy crap. Like if I allow myself to live in fear and to not actually give it a shot, then who knows, right? And of course it's been up and down. Of course it's been feast or famine for sure. But at the same time, I definitely am so grateful I went for it. I am. I've had some amazing opportunities, and it's been super fun, and I'm so grateful, and I'm still going for it. I'm still doing it. So,
I think if I was talking to my younger self, or maybe other people, is there's really 2 lanes. One lane is that you can accept and embrace that you may never be super rich, but that you can really do something that you enjoy. And if you don't have expensive tastes and you can live, a really responsible, efficient lifestyle, then you really are free. You're free. You're free of most things, if you keep your life small and keep your dreams big and you do what you want to do, and then that's huge, but then on the other kind of token, it's like, well, if you're going to go big, then go really big.
Yeah.
And if you want to be rich and you want to have this lifestyle and you want to do all these crazy cool things, well, then you have got to lay it on the line and just be willing to deal with that fire. But the problem is when that person does the middle ground, and they just get like a safe job in like, and they're just like, I don't know, processing some documents, or, it's just like,
sure,
it's not really a career. It's, and then I don't know. And that's the saddest part to me, because a lot of those people end up working 50 hours a week, and they're just kind of a human resource that's just getting milked as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so, and then it's just, that is, you don't have any upside, but you also aren't living small enough to feel free either. And that's the worst place to be. I mean, it's better to be broke and like live in a van. I mean, it's way better. It's way better to be broke and to live in a van, in my opinion, and live on $1,000 a month. But then you're completely free. You do whatever you want. You go wherever you want.
Yeah.
Now it gets harder if you have a family to do that. But.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very interesting, dude. Like I like that idea, like the idea of freedom, right? And I think people really want to taste that sense of freedom to do whatever you want, and being able to like live like that. And it is interesting that people sometimes they get stuck in jobs that they never really, or maybe they did it because it's like, well, we have to make ends meet to take care of the family and stuff. And hopefully they're finding joy in other things. But like I've seen those that like are it's interesting because they're making a ton of money, but they don't even have time to spend that money because they're too busy with like trying to like hold on to that position they have. And so it's very interesting, like the positions you end up putting yourselves in through some of these choices.
People just get addicted to that, and then they stack with like bigger. And it's like they'd be happier just living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And working at Starbucks. And like working like 30 hours a week. I mean, there's a big part of me that thinks it'd be really fun to work at Starbucks.
Yeah, you do.
You know what I mean?
Look, you would sell every mochaccino to everybody. I swear. You have that ability, dude.
Just make jokes all day. Hey, Fred. How's the mole, Fred?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So
what
I don't know, but
what brings you joy right now? So I was like, what is the thing that like makes you the happiest?
It's just when I'm hanging out like at the park with the family, just sitting there, or going out to eat with the family, and just it's just us. That's my favorite time. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's like these times where you can just be totally present with them. Like there's no other cares that are like holding you.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah, it took me a long time. I always thought I had to plan something big and there needed to be some kind of rush or activity involved. But the more and more time goes on, I'm just like, oh man, well, we're just together. It just doesn't really matter what we're doing. Just this is real, Yeah. And everything else just doesn't feel as real to me. So it's like, it's hard, man. It's like, I'll go out and do hobbies and stuff, like ride mountain bike or go run, and I love that. Like I feel truly happy, being out in nature and stuff too. But it doesn't quite compare. It doesn't quite. I couldn't do that for like 8 hours a day or whatever. And, I do feel really envious of people that are like a professional mountain biker, where they enjoy it so much they can just do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I really am kind of envious of those people.
Yeah.
But I don't have a hobby or activity that fulfills me that much.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I have friends that just go and they just play all the time, and it's like it's everything to them.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It is interesting. Like you mentioned something about being real, and like it just feels real. Like, and I love like that's like the way you described it, because so many of the things that we're like worried about and stuff are just ideas, just thoughts, just things that aren't even like present with us. But like when we're like, with your family or with your friends, or just kind of like hanging out and doing fun stuff. Like the other day, this is the most hilarious thing. Some friends of mine and I went up to like the mountains, and meditated to see if we can connect to UFOs. Like we legit did that, dude. I was like, this is just the best. Like this is the fact that we're doing this is the best. It's so fun, and like and we're having a good time. But I remember thinking like, I love that. It's like most of the most fun times I've ever had have been free. It's like, hey, we're just with each other, we're having a good time, we're cracking some jokes, and those are the most beautiful moments. So I love that.
dude, I was going to my first flight class this morning,
Yeah.
like to learn how to fly a plane.
Yeah.
And I thought apparently it's next Monday, it's not today.
Okay.
And so I just walked home. It was like 15 miles or something.
What?
Because
okay.
my car's in the shop, so I Ubered there.
Oh wow.
And I just like walked home, listened to Greta Van Fleet, and I was just like, man, this is living, dude. I'm just like walking through the city.
Yeah.
Just some random dude on the side of the road, just walking along.
Yeah.
Doing nothing. It was great, man.
Dude,
it was great.
So I have a buddy of mine who's he's very, very wealthy. He's like, I think he was like a billionaire at one point, but he called me up one day and he said, hey, Charan, I got something to ask you. And I said, yeah, what's going on? He's like, look, I am in this weird headspace where, look, I know I've got plenty of money, but sometimes I'm associating with people that have way more money than I do. And sometimes I feel like this sense of like lack. And he's like, and it's a weird thing because like people look at me, they're like, dude, you could never spend all of your money in your lifetime. Like you have so much money. But he said, but when I was younger, like 16 or 17, I was actually homeless. My parents had passed away and I was homeless for like 5-6 months. But even though I was homeless, like those were some of the best like moments of my life. I felt so real and so connected. And I miss that. And I'm like, really? And he's like, dude. So he's like, will you, I want to do this experiment. He's like, will you be homeless with me for a night? And I'm like, I'm in, dude. I am in. Let's do this thing.
Was that in the paper? That guy?
I don't know.
Or is this a different? I saw some guy, some billionaire guys went and lived homeless for a while. This is a different guy.
Oh, it might have been a different guy. He may have done. I would not have been surprised, but he was homeless before. So he so what we did was, and it was like not really, it wasn't like super duper intense, because what we ended up doing was we parked our car and then we Ubered to like another area, and then we just basically kind of hitchhiked, but not really we just walked back to his car, and we just had to spend the night in a park type of thing, right? But dude, it was so incredible. Like I can't even tell you how good it was, dude. I can't even explain it to you, because like we walked for like 6-7 miles, and we were just so present in each other's conversations. And then once we got to the park to try to find a place to sleep, we just like we're like just sitting there and just talking and having these incredible conversations about life. And the topic of money was never really a part of the thing. The topic of what he did for work or what I was doing as an actor was not a part of the thing. It was just like real humans connecting right here, right now. And I felt so alive. It was amazing, dude. It was so good. So I'm glad that you did that today. That was amazing. You know, you did like a nice 15-mile walk home.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
So we have a lot of people who could make a lot more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
But like I got the point in LA, and I imagine you felt this at some point too when you were down there, you know, or in San Francisco. Oh, I guess Silicon Valley is probably shot in LA, wasn't it?
It was in Silicon Valley. I did both. So
okay. Okay.
Yeah, I got up there.
But I just got the place where I'm just like, I just want to make less money and have a life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was at 20th Century Fox, and I was in this dream job, and it was just like, this sucks. Like, I don't care about how well the Planet of the Apes does in the box office. I just don't care. Doesn't mean anything to me, you know, as just like the random guy who writes tweets or whatever, you know? Yeah. And so anyways, that's what I tried to build, is something that, and I looked for jobs, and I actually went to interviews, and I was like, hey, could you pay me like 20 grand less to work 4 days a week? And everyone said, no, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to start this thing then, you know, and kill myself for a certain amount of years. But we've arrived at this ultimate goal of like working 4 days a week, you know?
Oh, I love that, man. That's awesome, dude. It's awesome because like
2021, man. Like,
yeah,
it's 2021. You know, most of us aren't working in factories, and it's just, I don't know. At some point, how much is enough?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's kind of enough. There's enough to go around at this point.
Yeah.
So how much do we need? I'm not really a fan of like the government stepping in and telling people how much they can have. I don't like that, but can't we tell ourselves? Can't we all just look in the mirror and just be like, do I need this? Do you know what I mean?
Completely, man.
When is enough enough?
Yeah.
You know,
because the truth of it is like the more and more we have, like, I don't know, like then it's like becomes like more of a burden than anything else. You're not like enjoying it. Like I like having a lot more, like less stuff, and just like having more joy with the stuff that I've got, you know?
I'm starting to feel burdened, man. We're designing a house, and we've got a lot of toys now, and sometimes I just feel like I'm always fixing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not using it.
Yeah.
You know, I have a mountain bike, but I got to fix it so I can use it.
Yep.
But I don't go enough because I've also got, it's just, I don't know. It's weird.
Dude, we live in this life of excess where it's like, we can't experience the stuff that we have because there's just too much stuff of it. It's too much of the stuff to experience. You know what I mean? Like I got these cousins of mine in India. And when I asked them like, hey, where would you guys live if you could live anywhere in the world? They're like, oh, we just live right here, like at home. And I'm like, wait, what? Why? Anywhere? And they go, no, because we're like never lonely. We always can do stuff. We can always have like a good time. And I'm like, wow, that's a profound answer. Because it's not like they were like the wealthiest guys in the world or anything, but man, they had fun.
I hate to say it, but Western white people have pretty horrible culture. It's very just like, I don't know. I have a lot of my Latino friends. They're just so much more talented at just being together. You know, like come home from work and just sit and just talk and hang out. And I look at a lot of my white friends, and they don't do that. The dad is like way obsessed with his own goals. The mom's obsessed with other. They're all just obsessed over different things that don't include each other. You know, and sometimes it's just like, guys, can't we just hang out? You know, like with nothing planned or scheduled or, you know, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird.
That's a powerful insight, man. It's true. Like my dad always says the same thing. He's like, dude, this culture is interesting because like in India, like everyone would always just hang out with each other. Like even cousins and stuff, we'd all live in the same house. It was like a bigger house, but we'd all live in the same house. And like he said, like, dude, he's like, my dad's like, we'd had so much fun every night. Like friends would get together, we'd all get together, we'd just have a good time. And he's like, here, it's like everyone's kind of like isolated from each other. And I don't necessarily think social media is helping. I think that sometimes it makes you feel even more isolated, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I grew up completely isolated. So I had an extremely mentally ill mother, like extreme personality disorder. And then my dad couldn't handle that. So he just did the 90s dad thing and traveled sales. And he was gone like Sunday to Monday every week.
wow. Okay. Wow.
I was locked in my room. The mental was locked in my room for like 8 hours a day, every day. Quiet time. Time for quiet time. You know, it was bad. It was really bad. And so it's just weird. You know, we didn't live near any extended family.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what's the point? You know, it's just pointless, you know? And so it's cool. Now can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I threw in my charger here.
Yeah, no problem.
But my in-laws are really good. My in-laws are really good at this togetherness thing. And it's awesome.
Dude.
But it's the same with friendships too, right? Like a lot of friendships are that way too, you know, like it's really rare to find, you know, a group of friends that all get along and want to be together and spend time together. And that's really hard to find.
Yeah.
I remember in college, like just seeking that. And I couldn't really fully like find it, you know, everyone was kind of like more focused on, you know, what's the next goal or thing I don't know how to explain it.
No, I get it though. It's the idea of like always seeking after like you're like I gotta do this goal, I gotta do that goal, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, instead of like, hey, like what about just like actual connection with people and like just enjoying each other's company. Like I think that's such an important thing, just like the idea of like having friends, you know, and like making like good relationships happen. I think it's so powerful. So dude, let me ask you this. I just want to wrap things up real quick here with these last questions. What is your greatest fear right now?
I think greatest fear is just like pride and like greed.
Okay.
And just turning into someone who has lost perspective, I think my greatest fear.
That makes sense, man. It makes sense because it's so easy to get lost in success. It really is. And it's just like, oh man, that world, like, I think like even, in the world of acting, I've seen that a lot where people like get like roles and like bigger things. And, it's crazy. I had a conversation just last night or 2 nights ago, with my friend Yasmin. And she was so great. Like, are you familiar with the series The Chosen? I don't know if you've seen that show. You have. Okay. So she's an actress, she's like a regular actress on that show. And she's currently working on another show in Hawaii. And so we were talking about this, but she was just saying, she's like, yeah, but even though I'm doing these type of things, like not all of this brings me joy. It's not bringing me fulfillment, you know? And it's like the things that bring me fulfillment are these things. And she was listing them off. And I realized like none of those things had anything to do with like acting and filmmaking. She's like, yeah, acting is what I do. It's my work, but that's not what I always want to talk about. I want to talk about real life stuff, you know? And I think it's good to like have that type of perspective. Like separate yourself from the career. Like that's what you've chosen to do. But real life is like about real connection, you know? So I think.
Yeah, I think we were all told that like follow your dreams, but there's a little bit of a lie in that your accomplishments aren't really your dreams. You know, like that we've been somehow fed this thing that like you need to, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And you're like, nah, maybe not. Maybe there's other things than work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's such a it's a valid point, right? Because it's like you have to understand, like, life is not your work is not your life. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference. There's a huge difference, and when you can kind of find that difference, you can find a lot more peace and happiness. So, well, dude, I'm so excited that we were able to chat for a little bit. I was going to ask you last things to wrap up. If you could now sum up everything that we've discussed and tell your younger self this one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I think it's just to focus on today. I lived so much in the future that I just lost out on a lot of opportunities to really just enjoy where I was, you know? So just do the best you can today and just have faith it's all going to pan out, you know?
And a nice 15-mile walk sometimes helps with that, you know? So
yeah.
I love that, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time and chatting, because it's like, yeah, it's so cool to like see like the success that you've had, and as you've seen the success, you also realize, but this is what's important, and the most important thing is like just being real and being here and being present, like that's it, you know? So thanks, man.
And it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard to do. It's like strangely weird, but well, but there's just so many things just trying to pull us in so many directions, you know,
distracting us, you know? So, yeah.
Well, thanks, Charan. That was awesome.
That. Yeah, dude, you're the best. I appreciate you taking the time, and I can't wait to like actually see you in person. It's gonna be awesome. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll hit you up, man.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. We'll catch you soon. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the Lemonade Stand podcast, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you use to be alerted when we release new episodes. We'd also love to hear your feedback in the reviews, and if you or someone you know has an awesome Lemonade Stand story, please reach out to us on social media and let us know.